On February 10th, 1940, MGM released an animated short film, Puss Gets the Boot. This cartoon would be the debut of a cat and mouse duo created by William Hanna and Joseph Barbera about a cat named Jasper trying to catch an unnamed mouse, although during pre-production the mouse was named Jinx. However, the mouse kept on outwitting the cat every time. Originally a one-off short, the demand for the cartoon duo was big enough that MGM greenlit more shorts of the pair, with the following feature, The Midnight Snack, premiering a year later on July 19th, 1941, now under their permanent names, Tom and Jerry. For over 8 years, the animated duo has delighted viewers of all ages with their slapstick hijinks and cartoonish over-the-top violence. Despite setbacks and controversies, Tom and Jerry have become a staple of animation history through various shorts, television shows, animated films, and most recently, a 2021 live-action animated hybrid that looks really bad. But hey, at least somebody's wearing their Rocky and Bullwinkle influence on their sleeves. Gotta respect that. Well, most may believe that, not counting the short films released in theaters and odd appearances in musicals like Anchors Away, this is the first time Tom and Jerry has a proper theatrical feature-length release in theaters and streaming on HBO Max. But people will tend to forget that there was a theatrical film released almost 30 years ago in 1992 titled Tom and Jerry, the Movie. But why has this been swept under the rug, you may ask? Well, it's quite easy. The movie sucks. Let's talk about it. The backstory. Much like the development hell that the new Tom and Jerry movie has, the very first movie also had a long development cycle. It's often been speculated when development began, as there were rumors of a movie idea during their peak period in the 50s and 60s. There was a point in time when, after the revival of the series in the 70s, when famed Looney Tunes animation director Chuck Jones, who also helmed his own shorts for the duo, was tasked to helm a movie adaptation, only to fall through when there wasn't a good enough story for the project. Another attempt came when MGM commissioned David Newman, one of the co-writers for Arthur Penn's Bonnie and Clyde, to write a script for a live-action adaptation of the film. I would make a joke about the writer from one of the most notoriously violent movies to write a kids movie, but he probably was in the right ballpark, I'm just saying. Now when I say live action, I'm not referring to a live action animation hybrid like the recent movie. No, they were gonna have Dustin Hoffman and Chevy Chase dress up in cat and mouse costumes and play the duo. I am just as baffled as you guys are. Obviously, this fell through, and so development waited until the late 80s when Phil Roman and his production company, Film Roman, oh, I see what they did there, picked up the reins, with Phil directing. Who is Phil Roman, you may ask? Well, Phil has a long career in animation, starring as an assistant on Sleeping Beauty and being a lead animator for Chuck Jones' adaptation of The Grinch. But he's probably best known for his extensive work in various Peanuts and Garfield television specials, often serving as a director for numerous specials. He even had a hand at being an animation executive producer for numerous Simpsons and King of the Hill episodes during the 90s. So it seems like the movie is in good hands, especially knowing that Joseph Barbera served as a creative consultant for the film. However, the movie did not end that well. Despite Tom and Jerry franchise getting another boost thanks to the launch of Cartoon Network and nostalgia for the Golden Age cartoons during the 90s, the movie tanked with critics, currently scoring a 14% on Rotten Tomatoes, and not being all that profitable at the box office, grossing over $3.6 million against a $3.5 million budget, which meant that while it did make back its money, it was enough to turn a profit. This marked a huge blow for the franchise as, for over 2 decades, Tom and Jerry movies would go direct to video. Film Roman, while still continuing on as an animation company, wouldn't helm another animated feature for over a decade until helping out with the animation for the Simpsons movie in 2007 and doing work for My First Mister? What? The movie. So the movie doesn't start off on that bad of a note. It began with Tom and Jerry doing their shtick, so it kind of tricks you to think that it will be a faithful adaptation. Even with credits to voice actors, maybe it would be just like, you know, grunts and yells and random noises. Yeah, see? So Tom is moving away because his house is being demolished. He gets lost because he was trying to kill Jerry because, well, canonically he's an idiot. He gets chased by a dog, who wasn't Spike, and gets trapped in the house. It gets demolished, but he saves Jerry. Wait, is that Nipples and Drag? And now they are homeless, forced to live life on the lam in the cruel, cruel streets. How depressing. They then meet a stray dog named Pugsy, and his little flea friend.
And instead of being pals, you're fighting like a cat and a mouse.
That's racist.
The name is Pugsy. What's yours?
I'm Tom.
I'm Jerry.
Did they just talk? I get it. It's supposed to be a joke. Throw a curveball at us. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Well, sure I talk. What do you think I am, a dummy?
You said it.
Oh no! So this is the most notorious reason why people don't like this movie. Tom and Jerry just flat out talk throughout the entire movie. And it's weird. Like, okay, yeah, sure, they have spoken before. It's not like it's an out of the blue thing.
Burning. Burning. Say, something is burning around here.
But the thing is, it happens very rarely, and almost all the times it was treated as a joke. But this is entirely earnest, and it just does not work. Like, it would be one of those things if they still acted like Tom and Jerry, but they just stopped acting like their normal selves once they start talking. With a few exceptions of slapstick, most of their humor comes from banter with each other. And it's not that funny. And they basically become peripheral to the story. About 20 minutes in, the actual plot starts, and we meet this little girl named Robin. She lives with her mean Aunt Fig, and she gets all sad because her dad has gone missing. And it soon becomes all about her, and Tom and Jerry are just there. If you remember back when that one Tom and Jerry movie where they did Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the major complaint people have, despite it being too soon after Gene Wilder's passing and some unpleasant animation, is that Tom and Jerry are slapped on the story of the original movie and don't contribute much authentically that doesn't already come from the original movie. Despite that this is an original story, this is also true. Tom and Jerry basically become completely different characters and are only there to serve this little random girl in her story. It just begs the question, why is this a Tom and Jerry movie? Like any other cartoon adaptations to the big screen, at least it does the bare minimum of having them being the main characters and a plot written around them. Why is Tom and Jerry just a footnote instead of the main drive? Why is this character the main focus of the plot? This is the cute little girl that she's sad. Oh no, who cares? As mentioned before, Joseph Barbera served as a creative consultant. Reportedly, he didn't come up with the idea for Tom and Jerry speaking, and actually said it was a bad idea. But the people making the movie basically ignored him, because they felt like that Tom and Jerry not talking would be boring to the audience. Somehow! Man, I wonder what it's like when Joe saw this turd.
Stop it, please, I beg you! It's a sin! It's a sin!
Wait, Joseph Barbera isn't British? So who is this girl? Well, let's say before, her name is Robin, and she is an orphan. She is currently living with her Aunt Fig because her father goes missing on an archaeology expedition or something. I don't remember what his main job is, but he's basically Indiana Jones with a mustache. However, her aunt is evil and kidnaps her because of her inheritance money. So it's up to her animal friends to save this little girl from— Hey, quit showing the rescuers! This is a completely different movie! Yeah, that's another reason why people don't like this movie. It's just a shameless ripoff of the rescuers. Well, okay, not entirely by the plot points in the storyline, but it's essentially the same. Two anthropomorphic animals go out on an adventure to save this cute little girl for the child audience to latch onto. She is kidnapped by some crazy lady and her lackey. There's an evil animal psychic, and in the end, the girl is saved. It's practically the same movie. Now, personally, I don't really care much for the rescuers. I find it a bit underwritten, personally, with the characters and the story. Yet I can still say this is a much better movie than this clown show going on here. For one, it's much darker than you expect from a Disney movie. It's very moody, atmospheric, melancholic, and a sense of danger. Like, real danger. And this movie just doesn't. The whole element of tension doesn't really exist because it doesn't feel like there's any sense of danger for this girl. Like, she isn't held captive. She's just staying with her aunt because her father went on an expedition. And it's not like he's dead either. He's still alive. He just got tangled up. But her aunt decides to lie about it. Why? Well, isn't it obvious?
We've got to have money.
He said it! He said it!
Honestly, this whole ruse just doesn't make a lick of sense. Like, in The Rescuers, the reason why Penny was kidnapped was because she could fit in the hole where the diamond is buried at. She didn't have any connections to the bad guys, and she was just some random girl and felt like a disposable object. So in a way, it kind of makes sense. Here, Robin is just kidnapped because her aunt is her caretaker while her father is presumed dead, and without her, the aunt is out of money because I guess she's just that unlikable that she no longer benefits from the family wealth. I mean, I wouldn't blame the family if one of my relatives looked like a mix of Ursula, Nurse Ratched, and the mother from The Wall. But then it turned out that the father is alive, which throws a monkey wrench in the whole plan, so now that she just lies about it, pretend that the father is dead, which doesn't make sense because, like, the father would still come back to get her daughter. But I guess locking her up in the banister for the rest of her life with, like, Rapunzel would work. Oh wait, she could just climb out the window. Idiots! Does she even have a job? How can she afford this mansion if she's close to being broke without her? How can she afford the lawyer, who, by the way, is named Lickboot? Ew. So Robin becomes friends with Tom and Jerry, they stay at the mansion, hijinks ensues with the dog, who, by the way, sounds like Golem.
Pressure.
And so the aunt sends the duo away to a vet named Apple Cheeks. These goddamn names. It turns out evil follows evil, as Apple Cheeks is actually an evil vet who kidnaps dogs in order to collect the reward monies from the owners, along with his two henchmen, who are not doing a good job of being discreet, you morons. He doesn't just explain his plot in an exposition dump. Oh no! He sings about it.
Yes, animals are business, a money-making business.
Oh yeah, did I forget to mention that this is a musical? Yes, because if bastardizing the silent duo by having them talk wasn't enough, then show tunes certainly will. When the movie was in production, it was right when Disney were at the beginning of their renaissance. And so they basically looked at that and went, yeah, we can do that. Except they didn't. The music itself is fine, honestly. It's a deliberate throwback to classic MGM musicals like The Wizard of Oz or Singing in the Rain. It is a bit refreshing to hear this style in a 90s animated musical than trying to ape Disney or even most musicals from Disney during this time. The only exception to this is that Robin gets her own song, and it's painfully transparent that they were just ripping off Somewhere Out There from An American Tail. The problem is that they don't really serve much of a purpose organically within the film. They feel more like filler to pad out the film's runtime. Both villain songs are unnecessary because their goals and motivations are already stated beforehand, so these numbers fall flat. The same is true about Robin's song, it just adds nothing. The only one that kind of works is the first song when Tom and Jerry started to speak, and it doesn't make much sense within the story. It's a song about how great it is to have a friend, which they immediately throw out after it ends.
Well, what do you say, fellas?
A cat and a mouse? Friends? That's disgusting.
That's racist.
And even leading up to it also doesn't make sense since Tom saves Jerry from the demolishing building. There's a musical number that takes place like 5 minutes after the first one, where the movie introduces these ruffian cats, and they sing about not being nice and being rude and mean, and it's just there for no reason. We never see these West Side felines ever again, and they just show up and immediately fuck right off. What was the point in this? These songs don't add anything to the movie. It doesn't heighten the emotions. It's not audacious. It's not even memorable. I can't even recall a melody from this movie after I finished watching. It honestly felt like the music was just an afterthought and was only thrown in to make it a feature length. And what's even more surprising is who they got to do the music. Henry Mancini and Leslie Brekus. If you don't know their work, they both won an Oscar for the music for Victor or Victoria and have very prominent solo careers. Brekus wrote the music for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and the lyrics for the Bond themes, Goldfinger and You Only Live Twice. While Mancini has the most prestigious career of the two, most notably doing the Pure Gun theme, his frequent collaborations with director Blake Edwards, including the music for the Pink Panther franchise, winning an Oscar for Moon River, his arrangement for the love theme of Romeo and Juliet topped the Billboard charts, and not to mention multiple compositions from movies like Touch of Evil, Charade, The Great Mouse Detective. You expect better music from two talented composers. Speaking of expectations, the animation. It's fine, I guess. It is clear that this movie is a low-budget anime movie, and you can tell as it doesn't have the polish of what Disney was doing at the time, but in terms of the actual definition of animation, how they move and whatnot, it's fine. Nothing too groundbreaking. A few moments do look pretty damn good, other moments you can certainly tell it was made on the cheap end. Jerry feels rather inconsistent in scale. Sometimes the characters do go off-model between keyframes. Overall, it's just fine. However, this is Tom and Jerry. famous for their cartoon slapstick, so you expect the same high quality to be transferred over from the shorts to here, and yet it falls rather flat. For one, there isn't a whole lot of slapstick, as it takes a backseat to the plot and musical numbers, which, as we established before, are not very good. And the actual humor doesn't have the same punch to it. Like, revisiting some old Tom and Jerry shorts, the differences between this is night and day. For one, the movie is over-animated. It doesn't feel like the animators were given keyframes to use, so they just animate the characters from the first frame to last. Often the characters do feel too rubbery and loose. Like they have no structure or order, and that no one can really stay still. The other being the sound effects. Sound is very important to comedy with how the delivery can come across, especially for slapstick comedies like Tom and Jerry. And the shorts are filled with dynamic sounds that help with the impact of jokes. With this, the sounds just don't pop. And I feel that's largely goes with the sound mixing for these slapstick scenes. For whatever reason, it sounds like they are mixed to the same level as the film score. It just muddies the impact of the jokes and gives it a much lower impact than it really should. Also, I should mention this moment in the opening where Jerry slices Tom up. This was the first time blood could be seen in a Tom and Jerry cartoon, which hilariously, according to the IMDb trivia, is the reason why it has such a low reputation amongst fans. Okay, we should probably go back and talk about this plot for this godforsaken film. Jesus, I don't want to do this. So Tom and Jerry are kidnapped, but they soon break out and free all the animals trapped. I was paid scale for this cameo. They go back to Robin and tell her the news about her father.
To bed? If that's where my daddy is, that's where I'm going.
I mean, why do you have to journey to Tibet? Your bed is right there! Fuck you! They escape and start Tom Sawyering it down the river, or is it Huckleberry Finn? I don't know, they get hit by a ship. Family fun, woo! Robin is rescued by... Well, that's terrifying.
You are the lucky guest of Captain Kitty, king of the county fair, pirate of pleasure, and... Oh yes, and my first mate, Squawk.
He's funny.
Don't encourage him! I don't get why they decided to just throw in a character in the last minute as the movie is almost done, other than just plot contrivance. In fact, it just complicates this plot even more. So by this point, Robin has gone missing, and so Aunt Fig and Lick Boot decides to put out a missing ad on milk cartons in order for her to be lured back to them if somebody sees her, along with a reward for $1 million.
So we offer a reward for her. Someone will turn her in. Big reward, say $1 million.
But we don't have $1 million.
I know. That's why it's so sleazy.
Yeah, so then they can see you and go to the police when you ditch them. Morons! So Captain Kitty kidnaps Robin by trapping her in a Ferris wheel for some reason. Like, he didn't have to do that. He didn't know that she might escape. He's just being extra for the sake of it. Aunt Fig gets a call from the captain while Applecheeks is there as he complains to her about his destroyed facility. He overhears how much the reward money is and decides to basically go after them to get Robin. Even though Robin is with the crazy puppeteer, it just seems kind of useless at this point. Like, he could have just robbed Aunt Fig because he's right there at her place. To make things more complicated, Applecheek's goons decide to betray him to get the reward money, and so Applecheeks has to steal an ice cream bike and looking like my sleep paralysis demon. So, to clarify, An orphan girl is on the run from her evil aunt, a greedy lawyer, a golem dog, a crazy puppeteer, 2 dog nappers, an evil veterinarian who kidnaps animals for a living, with the latter 3 wanting to get the reward money placed on her despite being a ruse so that the evil aunt, greedy lawyer, and golem dog can just keep Robin and her inheritance for themselves, since Robin's father, Indiana Jones with a mustache, is presumed missing, but he's actually alive and heading to where he thinks Robin is at. Need I remind the audience that this is supposed to be a Tom and Jerry movie? Eventually, the 3 heroes are conveniently at the old lake house Robin and her dad goes to, which is exactly where Robin's father was going to. Ha! Ain't that neat? But the aunt catches up with them and soon the house burns down. Oh no, they're all gonna die and I don't care. But look! Robin's dad is here to save the day! Oh, what a happy occasion it is! Oh wait, he left Tom and Jerry to die.
Oh, Daddy, they're gone. My best friends are gone.
Don't cry, Robin. We'll find them.
We'll find their charred remains. Don't worry, Robin. You'll be traumatized soon enough. Yeah, of course they make it alive, and everyone gets a happy ending. Robin is reunited with her dad, she adopts Tom and Jerry, they start going back to their old ways, and I die slowly on the inside, wasting my time watching this. Even fucking Pugsy and his flea friend gets a happy ending. Yeah, he was such an important character that we have to see him hop on a train right off into the sunset. Where exactly? Who knows? My best guess is that they're gonna go to California to work on a ranch and hope to earn enough to live off the fat of the land.
Yeah, I can see it. Right over there. George, I can see it.
Yeah, I'm making references to classic American literature. What, did you just expect a dumb joke on lame animated kids films? I have higher standards for my humor. How dare you? So that was Tom and Jerry's first foray into feature films, and I gotta say, this was flat out boring. Obviously, the issue is that putting characters who only appear in 7 to 8 minute shorts in an hour and a half just doesn't make for a compelling story. Who would have thunk? But I feel like the bigger issue here is just a simple question. Why does this need to exist? And I cannot tell you a reason why. The fans won't like it because it's nothing like the source material. Newcomers wouldn't know who these characters are or why they matter. The story is just copying better films. The musical numbers are forgettable. The animation isn't even that great. Literally, why the hell would anyone watch this? Why would they even make this movie?
We've got to have money.
Oh, put a sock in it. And I think that's the most damning thing I can say about this movie. Hell, any movie. It just feels like nothing. A big, empty, black void that fills my monitor as I watch this for an hour and a half. In fact, did I even talk about a movie? Did I even see a movie? Did I see? Can I see? How does one see? No, that's stupid. That's a stupid question. Why ask such a stupid question? Say what you will about the newest Tom and Jerry movie, but at least that will look like something someone would watch. Well, let's hope that's actually good. I mean, I have high hopes. It comes with the same director that made the best Fantastic Four movie. I'm sad that I actually mean that.
Ain't we, my friend?